MrBeast isn't who you think he is. And to prove it to you, I'll need to use time travel.
Gentlemen, we're history.
Just let me hop into my own personal time machine.
Dad, why are you dressed like that?
Like what?
And where are you going in the Versa?
This isn't a Versa, it's a DeLorean.
What?
Flashback to 2016. Jimmy Donaldson is just your typical teenager aspiring to be a YouTuber, but he's got big problems. His mom just kicked him out of the house and he's flat broke. He's got to find a way to make some money and quick. So like any clever YouTuber, he plans on filming him doing something insane in order to conjure millions of views and the cash that comes with them. But remember, he's broke, so there's no crazy expensive giveaways. No, these are more low budget crazy things, like seeing how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, or cutting a table in half with a plastic knife. And he gets some views, but nothing takes off. That is, until he films himself counting. Yes, counting. All the way to 100,000. Now this stunt is so stupid, so nuts, so asinine that, you guessed it, people actually watch. A lot of people. In fact, the video goes viral, getting over 7 million views in 1 month and giving Jimmy over 700,000 subscribers. And it lands him a brand deal worth a cool 10 grand, which he promptly goes and blows on a flashy watch. Yeah, right. This is Jimmy Donaldson, not your average beast. No, instead, MrBeast gives all the money to a random homeless person. For real. Now, as generous as that act is, it isn't completely selfless. Because remember, young Jimmy dreams of being the world's biggest YouTuber. So he films the entire giveaway and releases it on his YouTube channel. And you guessed it, it breaks the internet. Now, 17-year-old MrBeast has more business savvy than your typical 2016 YouTuber. So in the video, he asks other brands to sponsor future giveaways.
And if you are a brand or a company, I want you to sponsor my next one of these videos. I want to do a series where I just give away money to people.
Now this leads to MrBeast doing more and more extravagant giveaways, racking up billions of views and gaining over 100 million subscribers. Oh, it's good to be back. In 2021, Forbes reported that MrBeast brought in $54 million. Yeah, that's a lot of Beast Burgers. But as great as the money is, and I'm sure it's awesome, Jimmy's primary motivation for being the biggest YouTuber the internet has ever seen, well, it isn't money. In fact, it's much bigger than that. He literally wants to change the world. Random acts of kindness, insane giveaways, Team C's, wells in Africa, I mean, the list goes on and on. He even started his own charity, Beast Philanthropy, with the intended goal to put 100% of the profits, ad revenue, merch sales, and sponsorships towards making the world a better place.
So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and let's change the world.
And with 100 million subscribers and close to 300 million views on his videos every month, his staggering reach allows him to do things that even the world's most prolific philanthropists can't do. MrBeast's pockets may not be as deep as those of Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, but he's got something even more powerful. Influence. The type of influence that will literally change the way an entire generation thinks and acts. Let me explain. MrBeast doesn't have the type of influence that comes from having extraordinary knowledge or experience, like with Warren Buffett, or from incredible wealth, like with Bill Gates. No, MrBeast's influence comes from a far more potent place: celebrity. He's famous. And just like when Ryan Reynolds endorsed the budgeting app Mint and its profits soared by 50,000%, true story, it's a great app to stay on track with your finances. You can check out the link below. Or when people started using Uber Eats like crazy when Captain Picard and Luke Skywalker were pitching the food delivery service.
Thank you. Bravo.
When celebrities endorse a product, service, or cause, people open up their wallets. Now, sure, when Warren Buffett says he wouldn't buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25, or Bill Gates talks about how to avoid a climate disaster, I mean, people do sit up and take notice.
I'm sorry, could you speak into my good ear?
But when MrBeast asks his audience to donate to clean up the oceans or to help people impacted by the crisis in Ukraine, his tribe steps up to the plate and actually takes action.
Green light!
But not always in the way that you think. Sure, when he encourages his followers to support a cause like Team C's.
Team C's. And for every $1 you guys donate like this, one less pound of trash will be in the ocean.
An initiative he started with fellow YouTuber Mark Rober to remove 30 million pounds of trash from the oceans. His audience, well, they donate like crazy people. But the real power of his influence is that just like a generation ago, kids wanted to be like Mike, today's kids, teens, and many young adults want to be like MrBeast. Now, sure, some of his fans today will simply go online and buy some MrBeast merch to associate themselves with him and his brand. You know, not unlike kids in the 90s who would buy the latest model of Air Jordans. But some of those fans will go beyond the superficial attempts to identify with their hero and actually do something to be like them. For every kid who was inspired to buy Jordans, there was a Kobe Bryant or LeBron James who actually took the actions needed to be truly great, like Michael Jordan. I mean, they hit the court, practiced their dribbling, and took tens of thousands of shots needed to develop their potential greatness. And for every person who watches MrBeast's videos or subscribes to one of his many channels or buys the millions of dollars of hoodies, t-shirts, and pillows, yes, pillows, that he sells every year, there will be some who actually follow his lead and take the actions needed to make the world a better place. And with 16 billion views and over 100 million subscribers, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that with that kind of reach, he's going to produce a ton of world-changing movers and shakers.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, some of those will be inspired to volunteer at a local food bank or to plant trees or clean up a local beach or river. In short, they will heed MrBeast's call and lead themselves towards making the world a better place on an individual level. But others will see the influence he's been able to cultivate by owning his own audience on the internet, and they'll do the same. They'll use that massive clout to start their own charities and organizations and have the kind of impact that will alter a generation and the world as we know it forever. In fact, they already are. Like I said, he's teamed up with fellow YouTuber Mark Rober to remove 30 million pounds of trash from the oceans. I mean, that's like 2 million monkeys worth of garbage. And he partnered with some of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, people like PewDiePie, Rhett and Link, and Marshmallow, to plant 20 million trees. Now, these aren't small accomplishments. And with his audience growing every day, his influence is expanding like crazy. But the real hidden power behind MrBeast's world-changing influence isn't just that he has millions of subscribers, billions of views, and he makes super cool, expensive videos. No, it's the overarching theme of generosity in nearly everything he does. Because generosity, when done right, is insanely addictive.
I think I just became addicted.
In our bodies, there's a chemical called oxytocin. It's the chemical responsible for warm fuzzies, unicorns, and rainbows. So it gives us those feelings of affection and connectedness to those around us. Friendship, love, it's what surges through a woman's body as she gives birth and cements that mother-child bond. Oxytocin is what binds us together as humans. Now, there are lots of ways to get oxytocin, and one of them is acts of generosity. It feels awesome when you're generous. And on the flip side, it feels amazing when someone is generous towards you. When MrBeast gave away his first $10,000 to that homeless gentleman, both of them experienced a surge of oxytocin washing over their brains and the warm, fuzzy feelings that came with it. But here's where it gets really cool. It turns out you don't have to be the giver or even the receiver of a gift of generosity to benefit from the perks of oxytocin. In fact, just witnessing an act of kindness releases oxytocin. Translation? Everyone who watched that video and all the other videos in which MrBeast engages in insane acts of kindness experiences a hit of the feel-good hormone. And the more oxytocin we have in our bodies, the more generous we become. It's quite literally God's way of trying to get us to be kind to one another. And for the people watching his videos, with a total of over 16 billion views, well, they crave more of that warm, fuzzy feeling. So they're way more likely to be generous and kind to those around them than they were before watching a MrBeast video. And that's the secret behind MrBeast's stunning success, and what makes him so special. With his main audience in the 14 to 20 demographic, Jimmy is rewiring the brains of an entire generation to be more generous and thoughtful. They're learning how to have fun while helping. And it's the combination of his massive following and the fact that 3/4 of the people under the age of 20 want to be him that have allowed him to do incredible things to make the world a better place. In a word, he's made charity cool, helping hip, and philanthropy fun. He's the first of what will hopefully be many internet philanthropists, a group of wealthy, charitable crusaders who will quite literally change a generation and the world forever. If you want to have the money and influence to change the world, you have to start by changing your own financial situation. And there's no better place to start than with this video on the 7 differences between rich and poor people. I'll see you there.